Hello everybody. Today we are going to discuss about jaundice. What happens in the jaundice? The bilirubin content in our body is going to be increased. Because of that, there will be the yellow color discoloration is seen. Where we see this discoloration, that is in the skin and the sclera. Why? Because this bilirubin is having a attraction or some type of affinity towards the elastic fibers. Because of that reason, we mostly see the yellow color discoloration in the elastic rich containing tissues like sclera and the skin. I said you one point that the bilirubin content in our body is increased. What is the normal level? Normal range of bilirubin is 0.3 to 1.3 mg per deciliter. If it is greater than 2, then we call it as jaundice. If the range is between 1.3 to 2, then we call it as a latent jaundice. Till now we studied about the basic definition of the jaundice. Now we will study about the normal metabolism of the bilirubin, which is divided into four phases. First one is the source of bilirubin, second transport, hepatic phase and the intestinal phase. In the source of bilirubin, we get bilirubin from the dead RBC. When RBC completes its life cycle of 120 days, it enters into the reticuloendothelial system. Right? Here, these cells are going to divide into two particles, that is the heme and the globin. Globin is a protein structure which can be recycled. Heme is again divided into two particles. In that, some part of the heme is converted into biliverdin, which is also a bile pigment. So, this biliverdin is converted into bilirubin in the presence of biliverdin reductase. Now, bilirubin formed here is the unconjugated form. Unconjugated is nothing but it is water insoluble. To make it water soluble, that is conjugated form, it have to enter the liver. For that transportation purpose, this unconjugated bilirubin will combine with the albumin. This is the albumin particle. Will combines with the bilirubin. Now this complex structure will enter into the liver. In the hepatocytes, in its cytoplasm, this albumin and bilirubin are separated here. Now bilirubin is free, right? This bilirubin is combined with the glutathione S transferase enzyme, which prevents the bilirubin to move out of the liver. And now, with the help of glucuronide transferase, this complex is going to form bilirubin monoglucuronide, which is again converted into the bilirubin diglucuronide. This diglucuronide is going to enter the canaliculi, that is bile duct, with the help of MRP2. Otherwise, if there is any obstruction in the canaliculi, it is going to enter the plasma with the help of MRP3. To enter gallbladder, it requires albumin. Now, this albumin, this diglucuronide will bind with albumin in two forms, that is reversible or irreversible. If it is irreversible, it has to complete again some more cycles. If it is reversible, it is directly excreted. So, this reversible form of bilirubin is entered into the bile duct, then gallbladder, or it is excreted out. If it is excreted through urine, it is called as urobilinogen. If it is excreted through stool, then it is called as stercobilinogen. Okay, now we will study about the classification of the jaundice. First one is the increase in the bilirubin production, decrease in the hepatic uptake, decrease in the hepatic conjugation, and the excretion of the bile into the bilirubin into the bile is also decreased here. So before this classification, they used to consider increase in the bilirubin production is as a prehepatic, and these two as a hepatic, and the last one is considered as a post-hepatic form. Okay. Now we will learn in detail about each type. But first one is the increase in the bilirubin production. The causes for this are extracellular and the intracellular hemolysis and the ineffective erythropoiesis might be the cause of increase in the production of bilirubin, because the hemoglobin content in the blood is increased. Because of that reason the bilirubin is also increased, but our liver don't have that capacity to convert the unconjugated bilirubin to a conjugated form. For example, if liver produce only 30 bilirubin into a conjugate form, but because of this reason we got 60 unconjugated bilirubin, our liver don't have that capacity to convert. Because of that reason the unconjugated bilirubin is increased in our blood. Okay, so if this unconjugated bilirubin is increased and the RBC is not formed effectively, because of these two reasons, in infants it may lead to icterus neonatal. This is the condition because of increase in the bilirubin production and decrease in the RBC formation may lead to icterus neonatal in the infants. Second one is the decrease in the hepatic uptake. This is mostly caused by the drug, sepsis and the prolonged starvation. We already know that when bilirubin enters the liver, it is going to separate with albumin, right? This bilirubin is going to combine with a cytoplasmic protein of the hepatocyte, that is glutathione S transferase. In this process there may be any disturbance in this process. Because of that reason the hepatic uptake is reduced. Because of that the unconjugated bilirubin is not converted into a conjugated bilirubin. So this unconjugated form is increased in our blood. Okay, this is all about the decrease in the hepatic uptake. Third one is the most important one. Here there is a hepatic conjugation is decreased. There are three reasons: innate, acquired and the neonatal jaundice. Here the hepatic conjugation is decreased. That is nothing but unconjugated bilirubin is not converted to conjugated form. For this conversion we require one enzyme, that is glucuronide transferase enzyme. If there is any deficiency of this enzyme, there won't be any conversion of unconjugated to conjugated form. So there are some examples here in the innate form, that is Gilbert syndrome. In the Gilbert syndrome, our body, there is a genetic mutation. Because of that reason our body is not able to produce that potent of these enzymes, so that there will be less amount of glucuronide transferase enzyme. Because of that reason we get jaundice, that is unconjugated bilirubin form. In the Crigler-Najjar syndrome, what happens is it is of two types. In type 1 there is a complete absence of enzyme. There won't be any type of enzyme seen, that is glucuronide transferase. Because of that reason the neonates will die after their birth. So in type 2 it is same like Gilbert syndrome, that is some amount of glucuronide transferase is produced, but it is less compared to normal. In neonates jaundice, the bilirubin form, if there is any free form of bilirubin, that is unconjugated form, it enters the brain and it may lead to kernicterus. So this is all about the decrease in the hepatic conjugation. And the final one is the bilirubin into the bile is reduced. That is when unconjugated form of bilirubin is converted into the conjugated form. This conjugated form is going to transfer into the gallbladder, right, through bile duct. Then it is going to excreted out through the urine. Here in this stage the unconjugated bilirubin is converted into conjugated form, but it is not secreted out through liver into the gallbladder, or there are some reasons that might be intrahepatic or extrahepatic. Intrahepatic is nothing but that liver is unable to secrete this. Examples are like Dubin-Johnson syndrome. In the Dubin-Johnson syndrome, the transporter protein is deficient. Because of that, the liver won't transport this conjugated form into the gallbladder through the bile duct. Okay, even in the Rotor syndrome the same thing happens. And next one is the extrahepatic. In the extrahepatic form, there may be any obstruction, stricture, or a tumor or carcinoma, other reasons. Here what happens is, just imagine these are the blood vessels and the hepatic cells, bile duct. These hepatocytes are going to produce conjugated bilirubin. They have to enter this bile duct and they have to reach the gallbladder, right? But here what happens is, because of this obstruction, the pressure inside the bile duct is increased. Instead of going this side, the conjugated form will enter the blood circulation directly. Because of that reason, the conjugated form of bilirubin is increased in the blood plasma. This is all about the bilirubin into the bile. This is the only form, that is, it is also called as post-hepatic. It is the only form where the conjugated bilirubin is increased. In the hepatic phase, we see both conjugated and the unconjugated bilirubin. In the first one, when we see the hemolysis, there we see unconjugated type of bilirubin is increased. But here we only see the conjugated type of bilirubin is increased. This is all about the types of jaundice. From this we are going to get the clear-cut idea about jaundice. First one is the basic mechanism of raised bilirubin. In the prehepatic case, there is a hemolysis seen, because of which the bilirubin is raised here. In the hepatocellular, there is a deficient uptake of bilirubin. And in the obstructive type, there is an obstruction for the biliary tract, right? Next one is the type of bilirubin seen in the serum. We already know that the prehepatic and the hepatocellular, we see the unconjugated form. But in the obstructive type, we see mainly the conjugated form, because here the unconjugated bilirubin is converted into conjugated. There is an excretion problem of bilirubin, right? Next, urine bilirubin. It is nothing but the bilirubin which we see in the urine, right? It is absent in the prehepatic, because we get here is the unconjugated form, and in the hepatocellular and the obstructive form it is present. In the obstructive we get the conjugated form, so we can see this in the urine. Urobilinogen is a colorless pigment which is seen in the gut when bilirubin is metabolized. So it is increased in the prehepatic, variable in hepatocellular, and in the obstructive type it is absent, because in this form the conjugated form of bilirubin won't enter into the gut wall, so we won't see any type of urobilinogen here. Thank you for watching.